Welcome back. We're less than 3 weeks away from the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla. The service will take place at Westminster Abbey on Saturday the 6th of May, followed by a concert at Windsor Castle the following day.
Steeped in tradition and pageantry, the symbolic and religious ceremony will feature several sacred objects from the crown jewels, namely the Coronation Regalia, which represents the powers and responsibilities of the monarch. To tell us more, we welcome royal commentator Angela Mollard.
Hi.
Let's have a look at some of these stunning pieces. We're going to start with St Edward's crown. When will this be used?
This will be used at the moment of coronation. So this will be placed on Charles's head. It dates back to 1661. It's very heavy. It weighs 2.2 kilos. In fact, at previous coronations, it's been slightly problematic. In 1911, at George VI's coronation, it was being carried on a pillow, and the Dean of Westminster stumbled, and it almost fell off. Luckily, it's held on by ribbons. So this is the most important crown of the event, but there is a lighter one which we're going to get onto.
Yeah, and the Dean of Westminster was never seen again.
He actually was really old, and I think that was his last main event.
I do worry about the white fur
with
and
the makeup.
Yeah. And you know that's called ermine, and ermine is actually an animal. I was reading about. It's like a stoat.
It's not a person.
It's not. No, it's actually the fur comes from a proper animal that's like a stoat. There you go. The black and white bit.
But I'm with you. His makeup's going to come off. Now he's doing a bit of a Beyonce, and he's going to change midway through.
That's right. So he has a different one to walk out of Westminster Abbey. This is called the Imperial State Crown. It's lighter. It's a newer crown. It replaces one that was used in the past. So this is what's used for the state opening in Parliament. And famously, the Queen, being interviewed about this crown, said, "You can never look down at a speech when you're wearing this crown. You have to bring the piece of paper up so that you don't drop your head because it can fall off." So that's been problematic. That crown has actually been put on backwards at a former monarch's crowning as well. So it's not fail-safe.
So ermine doesn't have a non-slip option. There's not a...
No, there's no elastic to go in the
no Hollywood tape on this.
No, you have to be pretty careful with these crowns.
And what does Camilla get to wear?
Yeah. She gets to wear St Mary's crown. Now this is very beautiful. It was formerly, of course, the Queen's crown. And what's really beautiful about this is there's been some jewels from the Queen's private collection added to it for Camilla to wear. It's also being changed because, of course, she's got a different head shape to the late Queen. But that's a very beautiful crown. That one, again, dates back to 1661. So a lot of these were made, all the crown jewels were actually melted down after the Civil War. And so these are all sort of about 350 years old.
Wow.
But the next thing we're looking at...
Yes. Oh, well, because apparently... Were you prompting me to ask you about the oil and the spoon?
This is the one I'm really excited about.
When I've read oil and spoon, I was quite excited about this one as well. Is this
it's not for cooking, Larry.
Oh, okay.
This is the sacred oil that is used. Now, this particular piece is the coronation spoon, and this one dates to the 12th century. This is one of only 4 pieces that were not burnt down during that Civil War. So this is very, very old. It's used to lift the oil onto the monarch at the point of coronation, and this is when they're sort of invested. This typically takes place under a canopy, and that other item we saw there is the ampulla, and that's where the oil is held to lift the oil out with the spoon.
Do you know what they could? You know what they could do if Nigella Lawson popped out at that point, just to give it a little bit more of a modern touch, and said she heated the oil up in the microwave.
Yes.
I think that could be a beautiful touch.
That's lovely.
In the microwave.
I've never heard that expression.
That's how Nigella pronounces microwave.
Yes.
And then Gordon Ramsay could jump up and go, "What the?" Yep.
Well,
I think we're onto something.
Charles wants to modernise it, so let's see.
I think we're onto something. The orb.
Oh, the
orb. So the orb, of course, is a very spiritual piece. It's topped with that crown, which represents Christianity. The globe, of course, represents the world. The fact that the sovereign represents the world. Look, these were actually stolen in the 1600s, and as that orb and a couple of the crowns were taken, the thief actually fell over and smashed one of the crowns. Not the crowns being used this time, but they've, of course, not been stolen since the 16th century. But interestingly, that orb and other pieces in the collection, during the war, stones were taken out of them, so they actually were lifted out, buried in a biscuit tin, put in the bottom of Windsor Castle, so they were moved from the Tower of London for fear that the Germans would move into the UK and steal those jewels. They thought that if they had them like that, someone could smuggle them out because they would not actually be in the regalia. They would be in a little wrapped up in that biscuit tin. So really interesting.
It wasn't the Dean of Westminster trying to steal the orb, because he's got form. He can't carry anything, can he? The old Dean stumbles every time.
He was long dead.
Right, 2 scepters will be used. What's their significance?
That's right. There's 2 of them. They're very beautiful. There's the sovereign scepter with a cross, which is that one there with the cross on the top, and then there's a sovereign scepter with a dove. Now, the dove one is representing Christianity and religion. I can't remember which. They have them in either hand. In the past, there's been stuff-ups where they've presented it to the person who's supposed to be passing it on to the monarch. Look, they are riddled with problems.
Wow.
There's too many of them. That's the problem. There's too many different things being used. But these things, of course, with Charles, the moment when he is wearing that crown, with that orb in his hand and the sceptre in the other hand, that is generally regarded as the sort of epitome of the coronation, the moment when that person is officially the monarch.
The money shot, as we
the
like
money
to.
shot.
The money
Exactly.
I don't think they ever say that about coronations.
They do now.
I don't really think they. I've never heard that in relation to a coronation. Good to see you, Ange.
Thank you, Ange. Cannot wait 3 weeks and 3 weeks
we're
and
counting
counting.
down,
Yes.
right? We need a little clock on the corner of the screen. Oh, we'll remind you again before it happens.
Yes,
Okay.
you won't forget.
Yeah.